The next phase in the compiler generation process or the compiler design process is designing a tool for syntax analysis purpose. So we have seen so far for the lexical analyzer, so that can return the tokens that are appearing in the language, so valid words of the language. Now these words are to be connected, or they need to be sequenced in a process fashion for some meaningful construct of the language. So whatever be the language is starting with English to some programming language, so there is some sequence in which this token has to appear. So lexical analyzer is cannot determine that sequence. So it can just give you the tokens that are coming, or the words that are coming in the input source file. And the next job is to try to see whether these words are appearing in a proper sequence or not. So if they are appearing in a proper sequence, then they are following the grammar rules of the language, and accordingly the entire program is accepted as a valid program. Entire input file is accepted as a valid input for a language that we are considering. So this phase, we will discussing on this syntax analyzer design, or the task of syntax analysis, and it's very complex in the sense that depending upon the programming language constructs, so which are quite varied in nature. So it is often very difficult to come up with some syntax analysis tool, and depending upon the concept that we have, sometimes we can have a simple type of syntax analyzer, whereas if the language is quite complex, the grammar is quite complex, in that case the construction also become difficult, and many times we need to do a trade-off, like some. So we have to use the knowledge or the intuition of the compiler design to resolve between different issues that are appearing in the reduction process. So this is the second phase of the compiler. In this phase, we check the syntax and construct the abstract syntax tree. This phase is modeled through context-free grammar, and the structure is recognized through push-down automata or table-driven parser. The syntax analysis phase varies that the string can be generated by the grammar for the source language. In case of any syntax error in the program, the parser tries to report as many errors as possible. Each reporting and recovery form a very important part of the syntax analyzer. The error handler in the parser has the following goals. It should report the presence of error clearly and accurately. It should recover from each error quickly enough to be able to detect subsequent errors. It should not significantly slow down the processing of correct program. Now, what syntax analysis cannot do? The information which syntax analysis phase get from the previous phase, that is lexical analysis, it's whether a token is valid or not, and which class of token does it belongs to. Hence, it is beyond the capabilities of the syntax analysis phase to settle issues like whether or not a variable has already been declared, whether or not a variable has been initialized before use, whether or not a variable is of the type on which the operation is allowed. All such issues are handled in the semantic analysis phase. Now next is role of parser. So let us start with the role of parser. The role of parser is like this. So The parser actually is sitting somewhere here. So this is talking to the lexical analyzer tool for token. So it whenever it needs a token to form proceed, so it will ask the lexical analyzer. It will ask to lexical analyzer get next token. So it provide the next token to it, and as we understand, as we have seen in the lexical analysis tool, lexical it actually scan the source file. So if this is the source file, so it has got the pointer y, and and that pointer, from that point it will try to see what is the maximally match token for this, for the next input part. So according it will find out the token and return it to the parser. The lexical analyzer gives the token and return it to the parser. So parser getting this token will try to see like what may be corresponding action. So it may try to follow a certain grammar rules for driving the statement or driving the line of text like that, or it may be that it find that the token that it has got not meaningful in this at this point of time. So that is an error. That is a grammatical error. So typical example maybe suppose it has an identifier. Suppose it has seen as identifier as a token. So ID is the token written by lexical analyzer. Now, if I consider a language that consists of only arithmetic expression, then after IDs, it is expected that I will get an operator here. It is expected that I will get an operator but instead if after getting the token ID from the lexical analyzer, the parser asks for the next token, and the next token, if it happens to be again ID, then then the parser will understand that there is some grammatical problem or grammatical mistake in the input. So it can flag that particular error, that at this point there is a problem, there is an error, because it was expecting an operator and it is getting an identifier. However, the lexical analyzer tool, so it could not understand this particular problem. So lexical analyzer tool, it just scan the input, and whatever is the maximal match token at that point of time, so it return to the parser. So this lexical analyzer and parser, they are working hand in hand. So they are the, whenever parser is requiring token, it is asking the lexical analyzer tool and then is proceeding. Then it's trying to see like which grammar rule may be applied for driving the input, and then if it is successful, then the process will go on. The process will go on to the rest of phases. And if it cannot do it completely for the entire program, then it will generate a parse. So outcome of this parse is basically two things. One is an yes and no answer. One is an yes no answer. Then it whether the source program, then that is given is following the grammar or not. So if the source program is following the grammar, then the parser will answer yes. If it is not following the answer grammar, so it will answer no. So if it is answer yes, in that case, so we can make it to generate another output which is known as parse tree. This will show how the grammar rules have can be applied to have the input source program derived from the start symbol of the grammar. And then the later stage of the compiler, so they can help of this parse tree and can generate appropriate output. So it may be some code, it may be something else, whatever it is. So some action, what it can do that part. And also if the answer is no, in that case the parser can tell us at which point is found the problem. And I was telling it was accepting an operator while it get id. So it can flash that message that I was expecting an operator. There is a mismatch. So it can flash it, and flash it can identify that situation. So it is basically the job of the compiler design to see that to ensure that those erroneous conditions are checked and those erroneous conditions are appropriately informed to the users. Then the user will correct the source program and again give it to the compilation. It will go like this. On the other hand, this parser also take help of of this symbol table. So as I said, as you said that whenever this lexical analyzer find a new identifier, so it install this identifier into the symbol table and return the index of the identifier to the parser as an attribute in the attribute yy or something like that. So this person can again use this symbol table to get further attributes for the symbol. So from the lexical analysis, so it has only got the index of the symbol table where the particular identifier is defined. From the symbol table, it has got more information like type of the identifier, or that is the type of operator that can be applied on it and all. So this way the parser can check all those things. So we have got this particular role of parser. It is a central to the compiler overall operation of the compiler. It is the main part of the compiler that we have. So we will see how parser can be designed. To start with, we define a grammar. A grammar is a four tuples. G consists of four parts: V, N, V, TP and S. So for the language L, if the grammar is G, then the grammar for it is known as and denoted by LG. So LG is denotes the grammar. So LG is denotes the language corresponding to the grammar G, and that language has got a and this so the mm, so the corresponding to the grammar G, and that language has got a and this grammar G definition. So it has got four parts in it: V, N, P, T, P and S, where V, N is a set of non-terminals symbols used to write the grammar. So Vn is that Vn Vn is that set of non-terminals symbol used to write the grammar. So V is that. So for writing the grammar, so we need some special symbol. So they will construct the non-terminal symbols, whereas V whereas T is the set of terminal symbols which is a set of words in the grammar. So since there is the symbols are appearing in T, they are appearing the final stage. So they are called terminal symbols. Whereas the symbols which are belonging to non-terminals as non-terminal set V, so they are not appearing the final stage, final program or the final input or the final language. So that is why they are called a non-terminal. We should be the final derivation that we have. There should not be any non-terminal left. Everything that everything has to be replaced by terminal, and these terminals can be combined in some fashion to using these grammar rules to get the overall parse tree. Then apart from this V and T, the set of terminals and non-terminal symbols, we have got a set of production rules for the grammar. So production rules actually tells like how can we proceed within the non-terminal. How can we replace non-terminals by set of terminals or non-terminals, etc. So we will see some example, and S is a start symbol is a special symbol in the V set of non-terminal symbol. It is also called the start symbol of the grammar. Now, so we will take some example. This is a grammar. So in this grammar, you can see that some symbols are terminals and non-terminals, like E and T, F are terminals. They are the terminal symbols, and non-terminals were some symbols like plus, multiply, open parenthesis, close parenthesis, id, and so on. These are the terminal symbols because these particular grammar is for arithmetic expression that has got multiplication, additions as the operator, and the parenthesis is also there. So you can have an expressions like say 2 plus 3 into 5. So this is supposed to be a valid string of this language. So sorry. So next is type of grammar. So these you have to start with. So there is a different types: type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3. Out of them, type 0 is the most flexible. So this is the most flexible or most powerful, and type 3 is the least flexible, and it is naturally power is also less. So power in the sense that the type of languages for which it can construct a grammar. If you try to construct a type 3 grammar, then you will find that for many languages you cannot do that. And type 1 and type 2, there are some intermediately types. So this type 3 language, they are also known as regular language, and the corresponding grammar also are known as regular grammar. And incidentally, the regular expressions that we have seen in our lexical analysis discussion, so they fall into the particular category. They fall into this class of regular grammar. Then this type 2, so this is known as context free grammar. Context free grammar, so most of the programming language concept, they will belong to this context free category. Most of the concept that you have in normal programming language that we are familiar with, so they belongs to the context free grammar. So most of the time our discussion will be centered on context free grammar only. Then type 1 is it is known as context sensitive grammar. They are known as context sensitive grammar because we will take some examples later. So where it will show that it can be more powerful than context free grammar, and the type 0 grammar, they are known as free grammar. So accordingly, if you try to design a recognizer, then designing recognizer for type 3 is the simplest job that we have already done in term of finite automata, NFA and DFA. Type 2 is more complex, where you will need a stack apart from a finite automata, so that there it is known as push down automata, so that we will be able to do that. Then if the constructing the other acceptors for type 1 and type 0, then we will more and more difficult. So most of the time we will restrict it to context free type and type 2 grammar only, that is context free grammar, because programming language construct they belongs to this particular category. So this is a type of grammar.